Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode in the Lively Liverpool series, we've got a huge game, actually two huge games. We're going to try and do a double header. Unfortunately, they're not back to back though, so we're going to have to sort of stop the episode halfway through, that kind of thing. But anyways, the games are going to be against Bournemouth, and we do have the League Cup Final to show you as well, so some pretty nice games to show you basically. So the final is going to be against Southampton. We've got Bournemouth here today for obvious reasons, and in between we've got Fulham and Celtic for two other cup competitions as well. But yeah, against Bournemouth, the obvious reasons that they're fourth. It's going to be a tough game. We have to try and beat them to open up a gap between ourselves and them, and that way we don't drop out of the Champions League spots, kind of solidify our position in third place or even second in the Champions League spots in particular. But of course, also the other nice thing would be to close the gap between ourselves and City to 10 points, and then that kind of makes it a little bit possible for us to have a good end towards the end of the good end to the season really, and maybe even possibly catch up with City. You never know. About 10 games left for them, and we've got about 11 ourselves. But anyways, in terms of what happened since the last episode, we don't want to babble too much since we've got too many games to go through in terms of the we were showing two games today, not one. So we showed you the game against Arsenal, and since then just a crazy winning run really. We beat Arsenal 3-1 as you guys know in the FA Cup third round, managed to beat Watford 2-0, Sturridge and Lallana the ones who defeated them. Watford, we managed to beat them 3-1 away from home. Klein, Sturridge and Marco all on the score sheet, and Craig there giving us a bit of a worry for a second, but Richardson getting sent off in the 75th sort of made sure that we would solidify that result. Burnley was a 2-1 win. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Lallana both on the score sheet. Ashley Barnes, again, another player trying to make things uncomfortable for us towards the end of games. West Ham, away 2-0. Gomez and Lallana the ones who are scoring. Lallana finally in good form for us. It's been great to have him on board finally. Adjusted his tactics, I suppose. Fine with the attacking midfield role as we assumed he'd be. But he gave us a bit of a worry there temporarily. Watford again for the third time in the same month, but this time the second leg we managed to beat them 3-1 at home to give us a nice little aggregate of 6-2 overall. Coutinho with a brace and Lallana with another goal as well. So that way we went into the final, which we are playing against Southampton. So of course if we do win, that'd be great. It secures us Europa League football I think as well. But in the end of the day, it's just about trying to win a trophy. Wolves 5-0 in the FA Cup fourth round. Really an expected result, a result that they're a championship side, and so Sturridge, Lallana, Salah and Mane all put them to the sword. Leicester was a 2-1 result. We had two back-to-back 2-1 results, one at home to Leicester. Vardy trying to really make things difficult for us, and I thought we would only get the single point, but Salah popped up in the 61st minute to give us the win, and we held on to till the end of the game. Brighton though was a bit of a different one. Sturridge and Salah gave us the lead quickly in the first half, and Gomez was the one who scored an own goal. A very strange one in truth, but either way, 75th minute to give Brighton a bit of hope, but again we managed to hold on, so that was good to see. So we might not necessarily have too many clean sheets, but we seem to have some mental resilience in terms of holding out and seeing games out, so that's another thing to be proud of. Against Swansea, probably the biggest result we've had all season, not in terms of its importance or anything, but just in terms of pure goals. 8-1 was the result, and Alberto Moreno managed to get himself sent off in the 89th minute as well. Jordan Ayew scoring in the 86th minute for Swansea, but in terms of our players, Salah with a goal, Coutinho with a goal, Milner with the hat-trick, with two of them being penalties, Sturridge with a goal, Gomez with a goal, and Lallana with a goal. Everyone really with goals, and it was nice to defeat them in this way heading into today's fixtures. So Bournemouth here, like we mentioned, Southampton here in the final are the games that we're going to be showing you here today. So I think we can just go ahead and kick off with today's game. I don't think there's been any real tactical tweaks since we mentioned the last episode. I think we're just in good form, and long may it continue really. We'll talk more about who's starting and whatnot, but as you guys always know, just players to keep an eye on. Alberto Moreno, of course, suspended today's game. Sturridge, a little bit of a knock, and really the players who do start are the ones who are in form or who are fit, and then obviously the ones who are dropped are normally either out of form or without fitness. So Bournemouth playing with a 4-1-4-1, trying to counter our very attacking lineup, and they do have a very decent side. Some star players like Francis, Cook are very good. Begovic of course in goal, we're going to have to do well to beat him. Wilson's a fairly decent striker, and I think he's got the highest average rating out of his squad, and there you go, 20 goals overall, so more than decent. Stanislas, I suppose, is a decent player as well. Jordan Ibe, Harry Arter, Andrew Sermon. Everyone knows these type of players, and that's not a team to mess around with. And you can see why, especially through Wilson, why Bournemouth are in the Champions League spots this season. For ourselves, though, we've got Klein. Simon, of course, in goal. Karius, I think, just about returned from injury as well, so we can finally start to alternate our goalkeepers once more. And we have 2 fully fit and available goalkeepers, which I think has really helped us in terms of why we're going on a winning run. Klein and Robertson are supposed to be first choice fullbacks anyways, and it's good to have them back on board. Robertson, though, struggling to get into the side as much as you'd think he is. You know, you'd assume he's a rotational option with those appearances that he's got over there. But yeah, Moreno's just done incredibly well, more than I would expect from him. And so credit to him for keeping Robertson out of the side. Wallace and Gomez have done really well as a partnership in recent games. Gomez also getting on the score sheet a number of times there, as you can see, 3 goals. Very high average rating. You can say the same about Wallace, who's had 40 appearances and really kept Matip out of the side entirely, and I'm surprised that Matip hasn't asked to leave just yet. I think he complained about first team football but hasn't asked to leave. Jorginho and Milner are going to make up our midfield, so a bit of a weakness there, I suppose. We're supposed to have our first choices are Henderson and Chan, but these two have been playing really well recently, and so they get the nod in today's important fixtures. In terms of our front four, we've got a fully fit and strong side, really. Salah with the most goals, top goal scorer, 16 goals, 14 assists in 27 starts, so you really can't ask for more from the Egyptian. Coutinho has really stepped up his games in recent times, and that's why he's gotten 16 assists and he's got the most assists out of our side. Firmino, main striker, and hopefully he can start banging them in on a regular basis and get more appearances for himself, because he's had 9 goals and 9 starts and 1 assist, which is a very nice ratio, but Sturridge is the one who's actually outplayed him this season. Lallana in the attacking midfield spot and in good form, 8 goals, 8 assists, 18 starts, so very good numbers reading from our front four, and hopefully they can make up for our lack of a central midfield pair, I suppose, and of course our so-called weaker centre-back pairing too. But yeah, I think we can finally just get things kicking and expect nothing but win to keep our good form up as well. We'll have to do well against this Bournemouth side. I think we can just go ahead and kick off. Look at these game intros, I suppose. But anyways, we're the ones who get the ball rolling. Just want to double check that everyone's in their rightful positions. We've got a number of other formations to rely on if necessary, but I feel like we are favourites. We should be beating Bournemouth despite their good season. Obviously, we're still a better squad, and we have bigger expectations on us, and so it's up to us to take the game to them. As you can see, they're playing a defensive 4-1-4-1. Wilson has a decent pace on him as well, so we do have to worry about him getting in behind us, but I'm hoping we'll dominate the game so much so that they'll be unable to play Wilson in at all. But if necessary, we can go to a 4-2-3-1 with 2 defensive midfielders, so that way we're not caught in behind too easily. And obviously we've got the 4-4-1-1 as well to play a bit more conservatively than the current formation as well. But so far nothing. We've had 6 shots, 1 on target, 4 fouls, a bit of possession as well, quite a bit of possession actually, but no highlights. That's a bit of a strange one. Let's put replays on, and looks like I'm actually heading into half time with not a single highlight, which is a bit disappointing. I was hoping this would be an easy game and we could easily brush off Bournemouth, but they seem to be very determined in terms of keeping things tight at the back. They've got a couple of players struggling with fitness, so I'm hoping that as the game goes on we can take advantage of that, since we can't seem to do it at the moment in the beginning half of this game. And I'm hoping if this game's not too interesting, then the one against Southampton in the EFL Cup Final will be. But yeah, good to see that they've only had a single shot, none of them on target. We could definitely do with a better ratio in terms of shots to shots on target, but the main concern is that we haven't had any real chances, so I think it's time to tell the players off to step their game up. Let's go with that. Alright, and I think we can move on from control into attacking in the second half, see if we can try and squeeze some goals out. Hopefully the halftime team talks enough to do that. I'm not a fan of going into attacking straight away, but given that nothing's really happened at all in that first 45 minutes, we do need to step it up. Rispoli is the only good player for the Bournemouth side, and unfortunately for ourselves, no one really standing out. So I guess Rispoli is the one who's saving the whole game. Coutinho getting injured early on. A bit disappointing, but we've got Mane on the bench, a very capable backup, so it's nothing to worry about too much. Should be time to make some substitutions anyways, actually, so let me see if there's anyone else we can take off. Alright, so Jorginho kind of quiet, Milner even worse. We've got Chan on the bench, we can maybe take off Milner. Salah's first choice, Lallana's first choice, Firmino's first choice. So let's take off Milner and see whether Chan can do anything. Really, the only other attacking changes we can make are either Marco or Daniel Sturridge, and I'd rather not bring Sturridge off the bench. So I'm hoping both of our attacking midfielder and our striker step up their game, but disappointed to not see a single highlight. There you go. Wilson on the ball. Wallace cuts it out quite well, and back to our goalkeeper Simon, who finds Gomez, the ball playing defender. What can he do? Jorginho. Emre Can, Lallana, to Firmino, finally moving the ball forward, and we're looking kind of dangerous, but I'm hoping he doesn't just take a pointless long shot, and he doesn't do that. Back to Can. Jorginho. Deep line playmaker. Lallana on the ball, what can he do? Plays it safely. We're just kind of probing them a little bit. Salah can find Klein, who's a bit free. Can he put a good ball into the box? Yes, he can. Firmino, and that's all was needed. All that was needed. And one chance, one goal. We've punched Bournemouth here successfully. Now they have to come out, and so hopefully we can try and get another, a couple of more goals on the counter, because they're being quite defensive all game long. I think they were going to be happy with that single point. But I'm not, and we do have to keep up the pace with City, so I'm hoping for another goal just to make things a bit more comfortable for us. A nice little header there from Firmino though, and a really good delivery from Klein, and it's good to see that we've got a number of players in the box. Even if Firmino missed, it must have dropped for one of them. Bournemouth not really coming out of their shell just yet, which is a bit unusual. Maybe they just want to try and stop us from ruining their goal difference, since we've had such a great run of games, I suppose, in recent matches. But anyways, Jorginho causing us some trouble. I can't risk him being sent off, so I'll just play Marco as a deep line playmaker. Not a role that he's been trained for this season, and in truth he should be taking Lallana off instead, but just can't afford a second yellow there, because that could really invite Bournemouth on, and I can't afford to even concede. I'm just not really changing my tactics yet, because they've only had a single shot all game, haven't done anything of note. I can't see them punishing us, but I'm hoping that doesn't curse the game. Bit of a quiet one today, but I'm hoping the Southampton match will make up for it. Bournemouth finally getting away from their defensive, but they're keeping the same formation, so it looks like they're still not really playing anything too risky. 6 minutes left though, and there's a highlight now, so let's see whether Bournemouth do catch us up out with their second probably shot of the game. And it looks like they'll do that, just that, with Wilson going on to it. Simon's there. Alright, looked a bit worrying for a second, but that's exactly why you need a sweeper keeper behind your high line, high defensive line. Simon though can take all the time in the world, instead he just lobs it forward to Firmino. Francis is the one who wins it though, and Chan can play safely, hopefully. Marco plays it to Mane, almost lost it, but the winger still has it. Lallana's the one though who loses it, and Fraser can get his team on the way. Will he though? Robertson wins it well. A couple of our players in the back line having yellow cards, which isn't pleasing, but it's good to see that we're keeping the ball well, and when we lose it, we win it back quickly. So let's hope to see a second goal. Firmino dropping deep this time. Klein through to Salah. What can the Egyptian do? Nice little ball across Mane, and that is 2-0 and too comfortable. Or too easy, really. Bournemouth having a single shot. We were expecting a lot more from a team who are in the Champions League spots and who have been very impressive all season long. I was actually expecting a lot more from Wilson as well, to score 20 goals in a season for a team like Bournemouth. No offense or anything, but you would expect that he would, sort of cause us some real damage. But maybe our tactics are just on too good a level at the moment, and the players are in too good form, and we come away with a 2-0 result by the looks of it. It's good. Sets us up good for the next 2 cup games. Hopefully we win those as well, so that when we head into the final, we're in good form as well. But yeah, I mean, with the Champions League, like we mentioned, we'll show you once we reach the quarter-final stages. At the moment, we're still in the knockout round, so there's no real need. In the EFL Cup, we reached the finals. Nothing for the board, but I feel like it's a trophy, so we should show you that. So that's exactly why we're showing you that today. and the FA Cup is yet to reach the board expectations. I'll have a quick look at what they think we should be going to in terms of the FA Cup. I'm pretty sure they want us to reach the final, which is a little bit high if you ask me. If you want Champions League football, but then you're expecting your team to also get into the finals of every cup competition possible, then you might be asking a bit much from the squad. Now, I know they're complacent, but I've told them off at half-time, so I don't feel like I should be telling them don't be complacent. I'd love to, but I feel like it might be a bit much and might upset them a bit. So yeah, once we have a look quickly at the board expectations for FA Cup, we can decide when we'll be showing you those games too, and then we'll call a sort of mini break until we reach the next episode again. Not the next episode, the next game rather, against Southampton. There you go, 2-0 for me. If Coutinho, how long? 2 months, that's a bit tough. Sorry, mate. Klein, man of the match, that's nice to see as well. Southgate at Anfield, alright. Board expectations, FA Cup, yep, they think we need to reach the final, so we won't be showing you any of the FA Cup games until we reach the final either. After Celtic, hopefully we draw an interesting team so we can show you the quarterfinal. And in terms of the league, as long as we're meeting the Champions League spots, there's no real need to show you any of those games, maybe towards the end of the season. But anyways, yeah, so we'll just be back in a moment's time for the game against Southampton in the final. We'll be right back. And welcome back once more for the second half of our episode, where we'll be taking on Southampton in the Carabao Cup Final. Hopefully the first piece of silverware that we can get our hands on this season. So just a couple of games to update you on since what happened the first half of the episode. So obviously we beat Bournemouth 2-0. After that we managed to beat Fulham 3-0 in the FA Cup 5th round to advance to the 6th round, where we've drawn... Apparently we haven't drawn anyone yet. I thought we did that already. When do we draw for the FA Cup? Is that just not going to happen? I could have sworn we drew someone already. That is unusual. It's not just showing up on my schedule for some reason. Yeah, see, we've drawn Huddersfield. I guess it's just not on the fixture list, even though it says 17th of March. There you go. But they're saying Premier Division. Here's the Premier Division game. Alright, well, either way, that's confusing. Celtic managed to end our 12-game winning streak as well, so kind of disappointing. Like I mentioned in the first half, I was hoping that we'd be able to beat both these teams in the cup games and then head into Carabao Cup, the final, you know, wanting to continue and the winning run that we were on, and obviously go into the game in good form. But unfortunately for us, it's ended our good form. It can probably, maybe, hopefully spark some, you know, the players having some extra desire to win, to try and obviously make up for this game here. But just in terms of who punished us, it was Tom Roderick and Lee Griffiths as well in the 45th minute. So they managed to go 2-0 up by the time it was half time. The match engine said that apparently we were... you know, we lost the game because of the lack of shots taken on target. We were wasteful with our finishing apparently, but if you ask me, Celtic were well deserved the match. Obviously punished us on the counter. That always happens whenever we lose. It's because they're punishing us on the counter. You know, we play with a very attacking formation and a very attacking tactics as well, and so it's very easy for teams to try and catch us on the counter. I rely on my sweeper keeper to make up for it, but unfortunately that wasn't the case against Celtic, who took the chance as well, and I think it's fair to say we were quite even towards the end of the game in terms of the statistics, but at least in the first half of the match they easily dominated that part of the game. And they ran out winners as we failed to recover. It's a bit disappointing, but we still do have the home game to play over here, and if we can beat them 3-0, hopefully keep a clean sheet. I'm not confident in us keeping a clean sheet, but if we can do that, it'd be great, and we can still go through into the quarterfinals, which is what the board expects from us. Southampton though today, so I think we can go ahead and kick off. A couple of things to update you on. Players seem to be picking up injuries once more. Mark Barter with a bit of a knock, back in 2 days. Sturridge with a bit of a knock as well, he's back tomorrow. He's on the bench. Lois Carrier's picking up an injury once more. Seriously going to sell both my goalkeepers by the looks of it at the end of the season, but out because of pulled hamstring, 8 days to 2 weeks. We've got Wallace injured as well, 8 days to 3 weeks, and Coutinho, like you saw in the first half of the episode. So I think we can go ahead and kick off. We've got Danny Ward on the bench, and Simon's going to be starting this cup final. and we can quickly talk about the players in just a second as well. But no real updates. You know, anyone who isn't playing since the first game in the start of this episode, it's just because of the fitness, isn't it? Not really necessarily form. Matip getting a nod obviously because of Wallace. Klein, Robertson, Gomez is the same as the first half. Mignolet managing to play a game in the cup game because of Karius's injury. Jorginho, Milner continue, and so do Mane, Lallana, Salah, and Firmino. Well, really, just Mane is the one who's the exception, but he's our top goal scorer in the starting 11 at the moment, and hopefully can bring some more goals. Southampton playing with a 5-4-1 formation. We're gonna have to do some really nice movement to try and break apart this back three, and obviously they've got fullbacks as well, so it's really a proper traditional back five. We're going to have to see some nice little movement, passing and creativity from this front four to take apart these 5 players here. Ganso, Romeo as well, of course, going to be the central midfield partnership. Redmond and Tadic on the flanks. And Gabbiadini, who's very dangerous, of course, as a striker. 26-year-old Italian international. Will do well to try and keep him under wraps as well. But I think that's it. So we can go ahead and give the team talk. Maybe a bit of a tough one. Deserve to win it, and I expect you to. Okay, is that the right way to go? Let's go with that. No particular reaction, so I guess that's not the right way. But I do think we are favourites today's game, so at least the second half of that team talk, I suppose, inspired the players enough, and maybe we can get some goals out of this team just yet, and hopefully they can respond. So let's ignore this little bit of an intro, and we'll get things kicking off. Firmino, hoping to see some more goals from him. Not necessarily the most fit player at the moment, but he is of course the only striker available, and if we can get him on the score sheet, that'd be good. It's going to be tough to break the Southampton side down, I reckon, playing defensively as well as a defensive formation like it mentions here. But first highlight early on, not like the first game, and Robertson's taken out there. I was hoping this highlight goes in our favour, but maybe it's still going to. Cedric to Ruben Diaz. If we can close them down quickly, I reckon we can win the ball back. They don't seem too keen to playing it forward. They don't want to lump it forward apparently, and Lallana does exactly that. And can he finish? Yes, he can, no doubt. The Englishman has been in incredible form, assisted by Joe Gomez. I'm actually having a look again because I'm wondering why on earth Gomez was that high up the pitch. I didn't even realise that was Gomez. Firmino is there, Lallana's there, Mane. This is weird. Why is Gomez the one who assisted him? Because Virgil's the one who gave it away. Lallana puts the tackle in. The truth is there shouldn't be any assist, but maybe it's Gomez who's the last one to play it. He played it to Robertson though. This is all weird, but I guess credit the centre-back for the assist. No one actually gets the assist here, which would make a bit more sense. So the game being a bit buggy, I suppose. But anyways, 1-0 in the cup final, so hopefully we can add some more goals to that and see off Southampton comfortably and get our first piece of silverware in quite some time. Salah on the ball. Goes back to Jorginho, the safe option. The deep line playmaker finds Milner, and Gomez plays a nice little ball out to Klein. What can the Englishman do? Tries to find his teammate there, but unfortunately can't. He does eventually find Milner, and Milner can find Klein once more. What can he do this time? Salah finally on the ball, taken out by the Southampton defender, Hoet, I think, if that's how you even say it. But Robertson wins it easily, and Milner back to the fullback. What can he do here? Good delivery into the box, hopefully. Only to Forster. Milner from outside the box doesn't go for the shot. Instead, back to Jorginho quite comfortably. And Jorginho can find Salah, who takes a sort of a wild shot, I suppose. But anyways, 25 minutes, 1-0 up. Can't ask for more. And Southampton have yet to have a single shot. They've had more fouls than shots. And I guess they're really going in terms of sticking their foot in. Salah on the ball again. Spreading it out wide to the flanks quite well, which is good. We're trying to stretch them out, bring out the fullbacks and keep the central defenders, stretch them out as well. Milner though, crossing hasn't been the best, but keeping the ball well. Jorginho, Milner, Robertson again, and he's quite free. What's he going to do? Takes a shot, I suppose, even though Mane was kind of free there, and Forster can probably lump it forward to his players. Hopefully we can deal with the threat, and that's the highlight ends. I'm hoping for that. Spreads it out wide to Redmond. Klein running forward with him as well. Have to be a bit smart here, boys. We're out of position. Romeo to Gabbiadini. And very easily in behind Cedric. Robertson not focused. Matip probably will try and cover, but can we stop him from finishing? Simon's there. And that is, I would argue, Southampton's first clear chance of the game, but the match engine thinks it's a half chance. And now Southampton are seriously trying to look a bit dangerous here. We're going to have to maybe switch our formations up if our players are sort of nodding off. Gabbiadini, that's just over, thankfully, but Southampton are suddenly starting to grow into the game, and that's not what I want to see. My players are switching off. If we can get into half time, that would be good. Ganso's also a bit injured. If we can turn that knock into an actual injury. Redmond just bounces off his heels and lets Salah into the game, and Milner is on the ball now. Lallana dropping deep a little bit, back to Milner, and both Englishmen combining well. Lallana to Firmino. Can he find Salah? He does. Can he finish though? The Egyptian, that is a poor finish. Had the time to take the touch and place it well if he wanted to. That's our second clear-cut chance of the game, and we couldn't punish Southampton for their poor defending there, and maybe they'll punish us here just before half-time. Gomez to Klein. Square to Matip. And Robertson's on the ball here. Just lumps it forward to Mane. What can our winger here do? Takes his man on, but then finds Lallana. Attacking midfielder, tries to find his striker partner, I suppose. And Gomez can head it down to Milner, who just passes it straight to Redmond. So that's good to see. Another English connection there. And Southampton are going to try and score just before half-time. One hell of a tackle, though, from, who's that? Milner. That's a good foot in as well. And now we are the ones who are attacking. Salah, though. I'm not happy with the Egyptians' performance so far today. That was not good. 6.6 rating as well. That kind of sums it up. Mane and Firmino also performing quite poorly. Out of the front four, only Lallana has had a decent game, and it's only because he scored. You could argue that he'd probably be a bit poor in rating as well. I think my front four is struggling with Southampton's back four. But so long as we're winning, I can't really ask for more. Alright. Hopefully we can start to step up. Our midfield is doing quite well, if you ask me as well. Nothing spectacular, but solid. But Southampton has started to concern me a bit. They just had 2 shots, so I feel like the game's trying to scare me more, rather just because it's a cup final. But if it does continue, then we probably should go into a 4-2-3-1 with 2 DMs. Southampton very dangerous at the moment. Right after half time, McQueen have to stop the delivery, but it looks like we're not going to make it. Just about to. And Klein's taking a knock there in that tackle, apparently. I thought it was Salah who put it in, but apparently it was Klein. Picked up a knock that wasn't too serious, though, so hopefully he can recover. We do have Vidal on the bench, but I'd rather avoid using him. Klein is our first choice, but it's a gashed leg, and I think maybe I should just take him off to avoid making the injury any worse. Southampton come again, though. Salah cuts it out. Milner to Jorginho. And Gomez on the ball. Klein lumped forward to Firmino, and he goes back to Jorginho. Keeping the ball well, but I think our telling passes are lacking a bit. Having said that, Firmino's got a bit of space here. Good delivery into the box, but Holt's there to knock it forward, I suppose. Redmond and Milner has another opportunity to get us going once more. Mane drops deep for the ball. A bit too deep, but eventually spreads it to a player who wasn't there. Klein drops back to get it though, and Gomez can find Jorginho. Klein again. Salah? Yes, he plays that ball. Good delivery, please. Firmino. And that's 2-0. Takes a knock. I think it's his goal. There you go, it is his. I was worried whether that deflection would mean it wouldn't count for him, but eventually does go in. It looked a bit weird from my angle, so hopefully this direct to replay shows it well. Gomez though finds Jorginho, and he plays a smarter ball to Klein rather than Salah, and Salah makes a nice little run. Klein's good enough to find him, and as you can see, 4 Southampton players are going to Klein, and Klein just good vision, I suppose, to find Salah, and he's free to pick out a pass. He does it really well. Firmino comes in for it, and I don't think it even takes a deflection in truth, so good finish either way is the point, and we do get a goal out of him. 2-0 up, and we could very much have the cup. We've got one hand on the cup. We just need to make sure we finish off first half with it. So Klein will take him off to hopefully so he's ready for the Premier League action. Jorginho's had a good game as well. Maybe we can play him and take him off for Chan, who's very capable as a ball-winning midfielder or a deep line playmaker, so we're okay. Let me just have a quick look. Milner's also tired, so maybe we should just take off Milner. for Chan instead, and there you go. Wanted to maybe give Jorginho a bit of a rest since he's performed well with 2 up, so I think we can cruise through the rest of the game. Hopefully Southampton don't get another, but maybe it's just best to rest the underperforming player because it's not necessarily, you know, completely over. One more substitution though we can make. Mane, Lallana, Jorginho, Robertson, all our options. Mane's probably been the quietest, arguably, so I think I'll take him off with Oxlade-Chamberlain, who can play on the left as an inside forward. It's not his most comfortable role, but considering Coutinho's injured, he might have to do that sort of rotation option where he replaces Salah and replaces Mane, depending on whoever's obviously more tired more. It's good to have that versatility in Oxlade-Chamberlain, but hopefully he can still perform just as well in that inside forward role rather than the role that he's comfortable with, which is the winger role on the right. Anyways, Chan to Chamberlain, the 2 substitutes combining. Cuts inside well, just like a natural inside forward. You wouldn't think that he's a winger. Firmino finds Vidal really well. Can he put in a better cross than Klein did? And he does exactly that. Chamberlain, though, heads over. And you could argue, which I think the match engine did, is that is a clear-cut chance. 4 clear-cut chances, only scored 2. I'd say we're more wasteful today than we are against Celtic. But let's see what the game says after. Probably won't even recognise our inefficient finishing since we've won, and the whole highlight is that we're going to pick up a piece of silverware by the looks of it. Clock running out, but there's still one more highlight. So do we score a third, or do Southampton punish us? Did you see that beautiful flick from Jorginho? Just kind of, I've just clocked it, just registered in my head, but Jorginho put a nice little back heel flick through. That's a nice little bit of flair there. Vidal with a really good delivery, and Chamberlain does get the goal. Referee points to the centre circle, so I do think that's not offside. But it's good to see that he's scored against his former team, Southampton. Drops deep to gets it, plays it out wide, gets into the box. Eventually does play it out wide. And yeah, just gets into the box himself to finish it. The good thing is when he gets into the box, he doesn't just go into the middle where everyone else is. He goes to the back post and makes sure he's there to finish the chance that Vidal creates. And it's good all-round play from Chamberlain, and long may it continue. 3-0. There's one more, maybe minute left, and one more chance possibly. Jorginho. Salah. Ooh, that's a lovely one off the bar. That's actually the best shot he's taken all game, and we're still trying to punish Southampton some more. We could just see the game out, but I suppose my players aren't ready to do that. Trying to make up for the last game against Celtic, which we lost. Gabbiadini spreads out wide. Referee should blow his whistle any moment now, and Southampton are as defeated as possible. Decent through ball, but Matip's there to clean it up, and Simon Mignolet just knocks it forward, and the referee should call it quits any second now. Lallana. Out wide to Salah, which is a bit weird because Vidal was there overlapping anyways. But yeah, Chamberlain was found by Salah quite well, and Chan's on the ball. Keeping it well. Robertson. Is it going to be 4? No, it just goes out wide. Out of play. And that should be it. Referee, I want my confetti, please. No, no confetti just yet. Chamberlain. Robertson. And there you go. Final whistles finally blown. 3-0. We win the League Cup. And that's a decent bit of silverware to have. There's a confetti and the weird presentation that we're going to see. Look at the players bouncing about. What on earth what's he doing? There you go. Complete dominance. This has to be one of the most surprising results. Really? That surprising? I was kind of expecting a close match, but not so much. We should be favourites. Either way, 3-0. Can't ask for a better way to win the trophy. I feel like I should congratulate them, but at the same time, complacency is an issue. So, stressed. One, lost the confidence of Matip, but everyone else is okay. I'll take that. There you go. I think that's kind of it for the episode. We'll decide on what match we'll be back for. I think the League Cup is in February, the final, if I'm not mistaken. Can't believe I've forgotten the date. But that means we should be back for March. So which March fixture should we look out for? Don't think there's too many, to be fair. Alright, we've got Everton. up into about Stoke. These are our March fixtures, so some decent ones. Everton, we've already shown you early in the season. Also, they're relegation candidates. Don't feel that's necessarily too big of a game. Crystal Palace in 18th, relegation candidates as well. Another game we should win. Huddersfield in 13th, Stoke in 12th. Really, you should be winning all of these games. And I might be tempted to show you the Celtic game, since none of these ones seem to be too important. In April, a couple of maybe more important ones, like the Chelsea one. Huddersfield, we play them again. Watford, no real tough opponents. And then we can show you City in the very final day of the season, which should definitely be a huge fixture. Could possibly hand us the title. So City have played their game in hand and managed to beat Arsenal. A bit disappointing. But yeah, if we win our own game, we're still 10 points away, and we might put some serious pressure on City. Manchester United trying as well, but maybe if we don't necessarily win the title but finish above Manchester United, that might be a decent season too, considering that bit of inconsistency we struggled with halfway through the season. But anyways, I think that's all for today's episode. So of course, if you did enjoy it, then please do hit the like button and subscribe, and of course leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always guys, thank you all for watching.